Hi, buddy, and welcome to the AI Super Campus podcast. And along with me are two of my longtime and most favorite co-hosts, Michael Foreman, who is a longtime professional executive networking coach about how to get leads and make more money through professional networking done right, and Ron Hori. So Ron, we'll talk about FinFit Life in a minute. Let's start with Michael Foreman. And Michael, tell us all about you, and that will tell people why I am so excited about inviting you to be here to review a couple of videos with your background, because you guys have been so helpful to me in developing my presentation to the Startup World Cup. And I'm going to share the video that I have to send to the Startup World Cup and get more feedback from you. That being said, Michael Foreman, tell us all about your networking background and some of the new things that are happening. Let's talk about the news as well.
Thank you, Mike, and hello, Ron. I want to thank you for being here. I am really called a network strategist. I really I help you turn conversations into clients. And what that really means is everybody's going out and networking, but they don't know how. They're leaving all sorts of money on the table, and they're not cooping any of it, right? So I am here to teach you or teach the masses how to actually network. And it goes far beyond sitting down with somebody. It goes by body language, by what you say, how you say. And when you network with what's called a servant's heart, when you go out and you help everybody else, that will in turn come around and help you. And the way I do that is through being a connector. I connect, let's say, you with Ron. I let the two of you figure out what the problem is, and I step back. But I really go out and do that. I also develop and produce executive business network expos. And what that really entails is I have 20, 25, 50 vendors, and take a table, a booth, or whatever. They do promote business. I take sponsors, and I make a really big environment, a really good environment about selling, about buying, and they're learning while they're doing all of this. So it's really good. And just so I'll tell you what's coming up in the future. I have my business expo in October. I have an additional expo in September, and I'm working on a really big deal out in Menlo Park for November.
Yeah, so you consult with other people that want to put on summits.
Absolutely, a lot of people, many
Yeah.
people.
So even though you are based in, let's say, the Atlanta, Georgia area, you really are available through Zoom globally.
Absolutely. No, I really try to promote myself within the United States, within the continental, the 48 states. I'll go to Alaska and Hawaii also, but I concentrate mostly within the 48 states. But I am going global anytime anybody wants.
Well, Michael's background, which you just heard, is why I'm so excited about having him here to review my videos to give me the great feedback that he's been giving me, and I'm sure will continue to do that. So now let's go to my original longtime co-host, Ron Hori, who's he and I have been together as friends for a long, long time. And Ron has been to what I call the AI Super Campus property here in Northern California, which I think of as a great place to think. I love being here. I love doing my morning guided meditations with a supreme intelligence every morning before I start my day. And one of my great joys in life has been working with Ron Hori and his great company that he represents, FinFit Life. Ron, tell us all about yourself and FinFit Life and your news.
Yes, thank you, Mike. Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Mike, for that those wonderful comments. And Mike, what I love about what you're doing with your movement to educate seniors about AI and specifically how to protect themselves from the AI super mafia, which is a real thing, and how to protect them and their family and loved ones from all of these attacks that are coming to AI. So briefly, what I do, our company does two things. We help people improve their health, build their wealth, and then also have a lifestyle to enjoy both. So we do something very unique. We combine health and wellness with financial services. So how do we do that? When we want to help people solve two major problems. One is health problems, people having diabetes, being overweight, and also money problems, losing money in the markets, running out of money in retirement. So we reward people for healthy habits. It could be as simple as walking, going to the gym is better. People accumulate points, and the points translate into rewards. It could be as simple as gift cards, discounts on Expedia for travel, and access to a multi-cancer early detection test. And when it comes to money, we help people protect and grow their money with zero risk and educate people on how they're called secrets of the wealthy. They're not really secrets, but they're not really known to middle America, which is the audience we want to reach. Examples like how you can create a tax-free lifetime income for retirement, actually approved by the IRS. If people have an old 401k, how can they, if they've lost money in their 401ks because it's dependent on the market, they can also stop the bleeding, and we can recommend different financial products to help them preserve the money that they have. And so we want to reach out specifically to middle America. The CEO of our company, his name is Howard Sharfman. He's been in the finance industry since he was 20 years old. He's 59 now. And his clients are the ultra wealthy. But he realized there's a huge gap in financial literacy for middle America. You know, husband and wife, dog and a cat, maybe two kids. And so we want to definitely reach out and not only educate them for financial literacy, but also show them, depending on their needs and their goals, different financial products which can definitely benefit them. So, Mike, I appreciate being on your podcast and appreciate your educational videos, which I think are tremendous. And also thank you again for being part of your team.
Well, Ron, what I love about you and what I know about you from our long-term relationship is your great background in media, marketing, and networking. And that's why I think you enjoy networking with Michael so much, because you are a longtime networker yourself. And I believe you got into the business because of your capabilities and your strengths in networking and communication. And that's one of the reasons I value your feedback so much about the video. So let me share a very unique video. You guys have been seeing a number of my videos, but I'm just going to play this first video, let it speak for itself, and then I'm going to share something unique about it for the local interest media movement that we are launching. So let me share this video and get your comments. As I always say, guys, and for the audience, I used to be a movie reviewer for CNN. I always had to take notes during the movie. So, guys, please feel free to take notes. So, I want to hear your comments, because that's how I get better, by listening to your candid feedback. So, let me share this video. I'm Mike Hayes, founder and editor-in-chief of the AI Super Campus. My two young co-founders are viewed behind me. If you want to understand our local interest media movement as a startup, just know this. To become a publisher today, you just need a free Substack account and interesting stories to share. First, let's look at the big story that needs to be shared today. We are in the middle of an unprecedented intelligence explosion. AI generates answers faster than humans can evaluate them, flooding founders with hundreds of ideas while solving the wrong problems. The real competitive gap isn't raw access to AI, it's improved human reasoning. That's why we created the AI Super Campus, leading superintelligence dialogues and AI reasonability training. We're not here to build another AI tool to replace people. We teach founders, leaders, and teams how to lead superintelligence communication dialogues using the 2,300-year-old logic of Aristotle with Steve Jobs' explainer candor and intuitive clarity. We unlock three core capabilities: AI reasonability, asking better questions to make strategic decisions; startup market ability, validating assumptions faster to build what truly matters. Sustainable profitability, creating enduring economic engines built on trust while avoiding disastrous mistakes. We deliver this through a proven system, leading us to insights, insights to strategy, strategy to validation, validation to sustainable scale. Our business model, Frontier memberships, accelerator training, enterprise licensing, and corporate workshops. But our vision goes far beyond software or startups. Our vision is to expand the SWC ecosystem with local interest media storytellers. By partnering with the Startup World Cup mentoring movement, we are growing local media hub by local hub. We are rallying media creators, local publishers, mentors, and investors to train trainers in their local communities. When founders practice AI reasonability training, it transforms strategy noise into clarity, clarity that gives founders inner peace and confidence. Yes, inner peace is important. And when global founders build with clarity and confidence instead of fear and confusion, we all move the needle gently from personal inner peace toward world peace. The future doesn't belong to smarter machines. It belongs to more reasonable people. We want founders to become leaders who know how to collaborate with super intelligence communication dialogues. Join our local interest media movement today to bring your stories to the world and let's show everyone that human reasoning is the ultimate winning advantage. I'm Mike Hayes, and I approve this message. So since we are, welcome Greg, and we'll let you do your introduction in just a second, but I want to point out something for our media movement. As you saw, I wasn't wearing my glasses.
You didn't wear
No
a hat,
hat.
which is
No hat,
your
no
image
glasses.
was great.
I was looking directly at the lens for a long time. How did I do that? Trust me, I need the glasses. But I wanted to be as transparent as possible. So I was using an old broadcast trick, gimmick, whatever you want to call. I was using an audio teleprompter. So I was listening to my entire speech, which I had pre-recorded the entire thing, word for word, right into my ears. So I took off my glasses. I didn't need my hat. I could look right at the lens. And as far as a media presentation, believe me, it is a powerful way to go. Is it immediately easy for anybody? No, it takes a little practice. I did have to do a little editing, but I just wanted to share that with you guys about, it's a technique that's fun. It's easy. I recorded the whole thing right on my phone, listen to it at my ear, look right at the lens just like this. And then I could really make a presentation. I hope it was a good one. So Greg, what we did is we started today with personal introductions. And then we're going to comment on this first video. Then I have a second video that was an update from today. So Greg Sanders, Dr. Greg Sanders is a number of things. One, he's an ordained minister, which is great. And two, he is a PhD sociologist, and he understands society and he studied it and utilizes that for gaining perspective in his movement to help people gain personal financial freedom. And he's a longtime friend of mine as well. So Greg, thanks for joining us. Tell us about the financial freedom movement that you're involved in.
Oh, well, hello everyone. Sorry to be late in between all kinds of Zoom meetings today. Yeah, so when you look at the things that are holding people back in their lives, one of the enormous obstacles is that of financial resources, finances, organization. So debt is kind of the albatross around a lot of people's necks. It's also almost an undiagnosed problem. If you ask people how far they are in debt, how many debts they have, when they'll actually be out of debt, they lack clarity about all of that stuff. So Debt-Free America is first of all devoted to educating people, showing them with the proper tools that we can show them exactly what their situation is right now, what their exact contracts with the bank, every one of the dollars that they've borrowed, every contract that they have has specific parameters that can be outlined and identified, and you can put them into a complete matrix of all their debts, figure out exactly what that looks like, how it's holding them back, and then get them out of debt earlier, without all of the typical solutions. So we're not talking about debt resettlement, using legal tricks, trashing their credit, anything like that. We're just talking about mathematically using their available cash flow every month, be smart about how they're getting out of their debts, and decide that they want to get out of debts, right? Show them the desirability and the huge life advantage it is to be out of debt and then to build wealth for their families and everything they believe in.
Well, and what I believe in is that this is a really great movement, and it's very, very important, especially in the age of AI, where job loss and retirements and all the different things, all the mysteries, confronting the mysteries of AI, because AI is as broad as life today. And that's why I became an agent with Greg's movement, because I could, because it was simple. I didn't have to have an insurance license, but now I can even benefit. And that's something brand new, Ron, that how people can really get tied in with insurance benefits as well. So anyway, that's a little introduction for Greg Sanders. And now I'm going to go around the horn, and let's start again with Michael for comments about the video that I just shared, because this is the presentation that I just start my presentation to the Startup World Cup mentor movement. So it's a whole process. There's so many things to it. It's global. It's fascinating. I'm very, very excited to be part of it. But Michael, let's start with you and your comments on the new video that I just shared with you guys.
Well, first of all, I thought it was a great change because you went from the AI generated videos to you, to the person. And to me, that speaks a whole lot better than an AI generated video. I see all sorts of ads today on LinkedIn and everything else, all AI generated, and you can tell because they all look alike. But you brought in that personal touch. You brought in the competition gap initially, and that's where you started. I thought that was great. That you can get to the people and say, look, you may be doing this and you may be going here, but there's a gap in between, and that's what you're trying to fill. So that was very good. And through what you coined as reasonability training, and that goes along common sense. So that should at least draw people in to say, well, you're right, that's common sense. It's reasonable. And that reasonability training, you're talking about reasonable people, not AI. And you kept on going back to that. And I thought that was very powerful.
All right. Well, your guidance helped me to kind of reach that point. So thank you for that, and thank you for being here last week and this week. Ron.
Well, Mike, I think the biggest thing that impressed me is just your visual and audio presence on the screen. One, you had no hat, you had no glasses, you had a sport coat on, very professional. And because I noticed things like that because I went through about a year of Toastmasters training, actually was a judge and a contestant at speech contests. So I could tell the culmination of your professional broadcasting background, right? Your voice inflections, how do you engage the audience? What types of questions do you ask? And so, in addition to the content, I think the content was outstanding, but just your visual and audio presence really, and also, that key thing about looking straight into the camera. I'm looking into the camera now. In fact, I went to a webcam workshop by a person who does that type of training. And a lot of people, they're looking at their monitor over here, they're looking down, or maybe they're like this. So just the visual presence, especially for this type of recording, was outstanding.
Well, when you're not searching for the next thing you're going to say because it's being fed right into your ears,
That's brilliant.
then you can get into it. You can gesture more. You can really, you're much more powerful. So for Toastmasters, I think that's also a great technique to learn and practice. And it's just practice. So, Greg, I know you only saw part of the video, but you saw me at least performing it. So, what are your comments, Greg?
Totally support what Michael and Ron are saying. I think in the age of AI, people come to immediately identify that AI is involved in something. And I think the key factor they're looking for is authenticity. Like who is behind this video? Who's the human person be? So people are searching for other people because they know that AI is almost like in between them and that other person. So when you can put yourself right out there, and the fact that you are making eye contact and you are in a very fluent way presenting those ideas, it comes across as being genuine, right? As being heartfelt and being authentic, as opposed to, oh, this person typed a prompt into ChatGPT and it produced this marvelous, superfluous video thing. That's kind of, people are always interpreting what's coming in, through the eyes into their brain. And so I think that it made a huge stride forward to saying, this is the real Mike Hayes, and this is the message that I personally in my heart really stand behind.
I love what you said about AI is a filter between people. It's not a human connection. It really is like an arm's length, communication. And to be right there, I think is very important and powerful. So thank you for that. I do think because of that, because of the unknown, the mysteries of AI, that there's going to be a huge movement back from centralization to localization. That's why I focus on local media movements, because I think people are going to go back local. You're going to have to, like Ron was talking about true AI crime. You're going to have to go back to your local community where you can network with people, have a one-to-one communication. I'm going to a networking event tomorrow with our longtime friend, Abe Nasser. And I'm going to talk about AI because I think there's wonderful things about AI. I think there's fabulous things about AI, but I also think we need to keep our own human reasoning as the enhancing it with AI. So we're going to be talking about poetry tomorrow, but I do want to talk about local media because something came up through local media. I got written up in one of our local media magazines, Greet Moraga, my son Joe and I, for lecturing to 80 seniors about artificial intelligence. So we got a local magazine article. Now, another one that just came out that I want to talk to you guys about, because as business people, you guys know that every problem is an opportunity. So here's an opportunity that came out with our local media. It was the introduction of this gentleman who I just met and I've reached out to. His name is Jeff Ayette. And I learned about Jeff from Greet Lafayette magazine, my hometown. And I want to show you guys something and why I have a question. This is a group of senior men that meet every Friday about loneliness and in Lafayette. So it's a full packed table of men locally here in my hometown. So I reached out to Jeff, who also is a teacher of AI. He got his master's at UC Berkeley in artificial intelligence, and he has a podcast. And I'd love to get him to, come to this meeting, and I'd love to go to his meeting. So here's my question. Unfortunately, his meeting is right now and it's going on. So I would love to go there, and I'd love to go on a regular basis because it's networking in my hometown with a bunch of local guys. So I'd like to ask you guys if there is another time or day, because these are ongoing meetings, that we could hold our regular meeting. And I'd like to get your thoughts on a time or day that would be convenient for you guys, because I definitely want to keep the meetings going, but I also want to solve the problem of the conflict of the time. So and I want to talk to you guys who are, my core collaborators about your thoughts on this.
For me, I'm very flexible in terms of day or time.
Okay, so a day, let's say the same time, and let's say there's a different day for Ron, let's say. Okay, so Michael, what's your reaction?
If we can do Thursdays at 11, that would
Okay,
be just as good.
great.
I like Thursdays at 11. as well. That would be
Perfect. Okay. So we're just moving one day earlier, and that will give us to Fridays to put everything that we learn today or on Thursdays in the future. So let's get an agreement right now that Thursdays 8 a.m. is the new time for the meetings. So we're all in agreement on that, and I will put something out about that. That's really a great relief because I'm really excited about going to this meeting and maybe having Jeff in our meeting and see what we can do together. So it's a great local opportunity for me. So thank you for that,
Right.
guys. I really appreciate that. Now, after I played my first video, I want to share another video that is 100% AI generated because I think there is room for both. It's a mix. It doesn't have to be all or, all of one or all of the other. I think this really tells a great story. I just created this morning, and what I do is I do a daily dialogue. Every morning I do multiple dialogues. I start with my morning supreme intelligence intuition dialogue. Now, I'm not going to say I'm talking to God, okay? But essentially, I am using my intuition to communicate with who or what, depending upon your own personal belief, I believe is supreme intelligence. And I network with my supreme intelligence intuition to get feedback about how to network with a lower level, only super intelligence, which is below supreme intelligence. So then I have a morning conversation with super intelligence AI dialogues and a higher positioning. And then I create the dialogues. So the dialogues, what I love about the dialogues, I can publish them transparently right on Substack. So what I have the back and forth with super intelligence, I'm going to publish directly on Substack so people can see the back and forth, see the dialogue. The process is the product. So in other words, watching the back and forth, seeing the thinking, my intuition, the reaction from AI, putting that all out transparently so people can see, wow, that's how you have a dialogue. But you can then easily take that exact dialogue raw and publish that right on Substack. The easiest thing, because we're always looking, what's the easiest thing we can really get out of AI that really serves a higher purpose? And I really think the super intelligence dialogues, to Ron's point, we're not only talking about AI, we're talking about the future of AI. We're talking about protecting ourselves from super AI mafia and AI crime. That's what these conversations are about. They cover all aspects of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, everything under the sun, but confronting the mystery of AI head on, bam. And then looking from that about the cause and effect of what are we going to do with our confronting of the mystery of AI. We're going to share information about it. We're going to put it out there as an action. That's what it's all about for me. That's the process. And that's what the local interest media movement is all about. Is sharing stories not only in person meetings locally, but also online and particularly in media so that we can reach a broader global audience. So now let me share a totally great storytelling video, not me, 100% AI.
Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating blueprint for how we can confidently navigate this crazy rapid pace of artificial intelligence. We're going to be looking closely at the insights and frameworks developed by the AI Supercampus, and what's cool is this fundamentally rethinks our entire relationship with AI. Instead of seeing it as this looming threat to human capability, we're exploring how we can use structured, human reasoning to turn AI into literally our greatest collaborative advantage.
But first, let's be real for a second and address the elephant in the room. Are you feeling totally overwhelmed by the constant flood of new AI capabilities? Because if you're feeling anxious about this so-called intelligence explosion, or if you've got this creeping fear of falling behind the technology curve, listen, you are definitely not alone. It is incredibly common right now. So let's look at exactly why we're all feeling this way.
Okay, let's dive into this. The root cause of all this tech anxiety basically comes down to a massive mismatch in speed. On one side, we've got the intelligence explosion, right? AI is generating answers, concepts, and data faster than ever before. But on the flip side, we have our human evaluation speed. We simply have an inability to critically evaluate all of those ideas in real time. We're essentially drinking from a fire hose, and that sheer volume just creates a paralyzing amount of noise. And that mismatch reveals what the source material calls the intelligence gap. You see, more AI isn't always the answer. Founders and leaders are getting flooded with literally hundreds of AI-generated ideas, but without the clarity on a direction, they just end up spending their capital solving the wrong problems entirely. So the real competitive moat, it's no longer just having raw access to AI technology. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll be exploring the intelligence gap, the human winning advantage, super intelligence dialogues, systems for sustainable startups, and finally, a global media movement. All right, section 1, the intelligence gap, taking a look at the core problem. So the crucial takeaway here is summarized perfectly in this quote from the source. The world doesn't need more AI-generated ideas. It needs better AI-guided decisions. I mean, think about it. Generating 100 concepts is entirely useless if you lack the clarity to execute the right ones. It's absolutely not about the quantity of the output. It's about the quality of the human judgment guiding that output. Moving right along to section 2, the human winning advantage, exploring our real competitive moat. To actually achieve that quality judgment, the source introduces a proprietary concept they call AI reasonability. And what this is the capability to ask better questions, formulate high-level strategic inquiries, uncover deeper insights, and make better decisions alongside AI. Notice that word there, alongside. Our goal isn't to compete with AI. Our goal is to collaborate with it using sharp, grounded human judgment. Which brings us to section 3, super intelligence dialogues, where we'll look at some practical frameworks. Think about the journey from being totally overwhelmed by AI mysteries and confusion. By engaging in structured open communication, what they call these super intelligence dialogues, you actually move along a path. You transform all that massive complexity into clarity, and that leads to grounded reason and ultimately personal happiness and inner peace. Now, to make these dialogues actually work, founder Mike Hayes blends some truly fascinating philosophical foundations here. The process relies on the 2,300-year-old logic of Aristotle to really structure the reasoning. Then, it applies the radical explainer candor of Steve Jobs for super clear communication. And, quite uniquely, it incorporates intuitive clarity by connecting with a higher source, whether you want to define that as God, the universe, or just your own deep personal intuition. It is this really interesting, impartial blending of ancient logic, modern business communication, and personal spiritual grounding. And here is where it gets highly actionable. The source emphasizes that the process is the product. By taking these raw, transparent dialogues and just sharing them out loud on local publishing platforms like Substack, you are actually creating the product yourself. You aren't just telling people how to use AI. You're showing them step by step in real time how to reason through complex problems. Sharing that journey is exactly what helps local communities learn by example. Okay, let's look at section 4, systems for sustainable startups, focusing on practical business applications. The AI Super Campus outlines a very specific 5-step reasoning system. First, you generate ideas. Those are the raw possibilities. Then, through dialogue, you filter those down to true insight, really understanding your key priorities. Next, you formulate a strategy to make the right choices. After that comes validation, where you prove the market value and test your assumptions against real market dynamics. And finally, you achieve growth, building an enduring scale. Let me tell you, following this exact sequence gives founders a massive advantage. And by strictly following those reasoning steps, founders unlock 3 core capabilities. First, they develop that AI reasonability we discussed earlier. Second, they gain startup marketability, meaning they find real, tangible needs and validate their assumptions so much faster. And crucially, they achieve sustainable profitability. You know, this isn't about a quick cash grab. It's about creating enduring economic engines built on trust, all while avoiding those predictable, disastrous mistakes along the way. Finally, section 5, a global media movement, which is all about global collaboration. Imagine taking this local hub concept and plugging it into something huge. The AI Super Campus is partnering with the Startup World Cup to grow a network, local hub by local hub. By rallying local media creators, mentors, and investors, they are essentially training the trainers. It's this grand vision of turning fragmented local media into a deeply connected, global collaborative intelligence network. And this brings us to a recurring mantra in the source material that I just absolutely love. None of us is as smart as all of us. This beautifully anchors the idea that the future doesn't just belong to smarter machines, it belongs to humans collaborating together. Technology might be global, but true understanding and problem solving, that always begins locally through open human dialogue. The source breaks this down into what they call the winning equation. Basically, you take human wisdom, add artificial intelligence as a tool, combine it with collaborative learning across these global networks, and the result? Sustainable innovation. It's literally a formula for success in the age of superintelligence. And that leads us to the source's final, rather profound philosophical conclusion. The framework posits that practicing AI reasonability transforms all that strategic noise into pure clarity. That clarity is what gives global founders inner peace and confidence. And when builders and leaders operate from a place of grounded clarity instead of fear and confusion, it gently but surely moves the needle toward world peace. It's a really powerful way to frame the impact of clear communication. Which brings us to the end of our explainer. I want to leave you today with a provocative question. If the future truly belongs to more reasonable people, and not just smarter machines, how will you use your human reasoning to collaborate with AI and find your own inner peace today? Thanks so much for joining me to explore this incredibly timely topic.
Who wants to comment first? Greg.
I find it incredibly ironic and gratifying that AI is lauding the benefits of human judgment.
For me, it's a gift from God. It's a superior intelligence, for all of us and our best, angels to guide us. Michael, what are your thoughts?
I go across the country speaking about communication, about leadership, about networking, and I'm always asked the same question, all about AI. How is it affecting me? How's it affecting them? How can they use it? How and everything. And all I keep telling them is that AI is a tool, right? Just one of the tools that you have in your belt to use. And it helps your reasonability for everything. And what this short video really explained was that it's humans plus AI will give you that reasonability. So everything I've been talking about, this is what is really showing it that AI is not nothing but a tool, but it is a tool for us to use as much or as little as we want, but we use it in addition to our own resources.
Well, I come back to a line from my most successful client who I helped take a simple product by changing the story from zero in sales to $200 million in sales of the exact same product. And as I interviewed him about the process, the final line was, Mike, it's really just common sense, but not a lot of people have common sense. That's what he said. So, common sense, we can't take it for granted. It really is a rare commodity, and that's evidenced by the challenges of communication, in our society. Ron?
Well, I like that. One phrase I like is common sense is not common, especially you think about common courtesy. That is definitely not common anymore. That's just a sidebar. But I'm looking at the structure and the sequence of the content. With content is outstanding. When they talk about overwhelm, okay, here's this LLM, here's the next one, then they leapfrog each other, right? Just trying to keep up. But what I'm thinking is in the beginning, I guess it's similar to a newspaper article, right? There's the first paragraph, and it could be the content may be several paragraphs long, and then it goes to the editor, and they start chopping it off from the bottom, right? So I think if you had a teaser about here's the issue of AI overwhelm, and here's the solution, and that's what we're going to talk about. So what I'm thinking of, it's a hook to get people to answer the question, why should I watch this for X number of minutes? Because I think the solution is very elegant and very clear, but just that information because today people are watching 5-second videos. right? And then they're scrolling to the next app or whatever. But that's just one observation I had.
Thank you for that. What I would say for me, the observation of the meeting in the two videos, one human and one AI, is that this is the yin and yang. This is the two sides of the coin. Number one, we have to confront the mysteries. It is part of the mystery of artificial intelligence. So, number one, to gain understanding, we have to confront that there are mysteries of AI. And we look at those and accept, okay, there's mysteries. There's two sides of it, two-sided coin. And having a human video and an AI video, I think might represent one of the best ways to bring both of those sides together. Then from that comes, how do we choose in a reasonable way cause and effect? What causes are we making to get an effect that we want? That's the next step in the process. What are we going to do in action? And to me, the action is to make the choice with our better self and then share it with action. And that is the local interest media movement on specifically Substack. And I'm not pitching, a product, because it could be on Medium, it could be a lot of places. I choose Substack. I love it because it really makes it super easy to share videos and stories, and sharing is what local interest media is all about, especially in the era of true AI crime and the super AI mafia. We have got to teach people to share, because we got to share these stories about how people are getting ripped off, and they are boggling my mind every single day. That's what I'm focused on. I'm very content with what I'm doing. I feel very committed to it. And that is part of my spiritual practice, is the commitment to solving the mysteries of artificial intelligence. So, Greg, I'm going to give you a chance. You got a quick comment, but I'm going to give you a chance to make a longer comment, and you can talk about the cause that you are making for, financial freedom as well.
Yeah, I really like what both Michael and Ron said. We live in an age where having more time for reflection and meditation is one of our premium resources. Devices have a way of like invading every minute of every day. And on my calendar, probably the most valuable time I have is time when I'm not on a Zoom meeting, not on the phone, not with my nose glued to a screen, and I'm like contemplating, right? If you do that, then you can really take advantage of the AI capabilities when you do have a chance to work with ChatGPT or whatever LLM you're doing and all of that stuff. But I've had to, because I'm an input guy, that's one of my strengths, is I love to learn. It's so easy just to always be like on with all these technologies, and you have to balance that, like you said, that fire hose, right? With a time of reflection, because wisdom has to guide the ship. So what I'm doing is I'm combining Debt-Free America with a new project I'm working on called Max Life America, because I'm trying to decide, where does that one solution of financial success fit into the overall pattern of life success for people. For me, I'm perfectly comfortable talking about God rather than some abstract concept of the universe giving me ideas. I don't know that a tree has ever given me a great idea, or looking at a star has ever given me a great idea. So I don't talk about the universe giving me great ideas. I talk about the author of the universe, right? Giving me great ideas. That's not just my pastoral training, that's my core belief. So Max Life America is going to be under God, in Christ, serving all with real solutions for people. And I'm searching. I can just tell you right now, and everybody, I'm searching for the magic combination of human wisdom, God's wisdom, human judgment, and technology solutions which add leverage. I think that people that are Luddites, or they've just stepped back from all technology and they're living a 1950s lifestyle, are missing opportunities. I think that the technology that we have, when you want to put, like right now, I'm creating videos for my website, I'm creating images for my website, and I'm learning how to do the prompts that produce amazing images that would have taken me 50 times as long or longer to create them on my own. And it's so much cheaper than hiring a graphic designer, but the issue is for me, if am I going to take the time to learn some of those new technologies and deploy them? I should, if I really want to be able to scale my business, save money. And so that's what I'm trying to do right now. The three things I'm focusing on, first of all, mission. What is your life mission? Because otherwise we're going to be just chasing all these shiny objects all the time. Well, look at that, look at that, look at that. What has God called you to do? What has God called me to do? And help people clarify their life mission. If they want to frame it in terms of the universe, okay, I'm all right with that, although I believe that God gave them that idea, right? So, but if they know where they're headed, what their unique value to the world is, how they want to serve other people, that's where you start. The second M is metrics, which basically refer to strategy, ways of measuring what you're doing, life habits, because you can have a great mission, but then it's like, how do I achieve that mission? That's the next step, working with the different ways of measuring that, the metrics. And then the third M is money, because money is a resource in our modern world. It's needed even to get AI subscriptions, right? And to buy AI credits, et cetera, et cetera. So those are the three M's, and they lead to a different form of AI. Please forgive me for just shamelessly stealing the letters AI for my own acronym. And my own version of AI is abundance and impact. Jesus came to bring us an abundant life, not a life where we're just always struggling. So abundance, which could be monetary abundance, but it could be healthy relationships. It could be, the fulfillment of doing something that you really love doing. And then impact is like, how are you impacting the world? What's going to be left on this earth after you're gone? So that's what the Max Life community is all about. Debt-Free America fits inside that larger framework.
Well, I think having the time for dialogue like this, giving you the time to share your thoughts, dig deeper, look up, think, and that's what I hope these meetings are about, is to really let everyone have the comfort of knowing we're granting you the time to dig deeper. For me, going on the record with my supreme intelligence, I too personally believe in God. Number one. Number two, I believe in Jesus Christ. But I also believe in the teachings that I've learned of Buddhism, Aristotle, even Steve Jobs. I learned a lot from them as well. So when I think from, a historical perspective, you talk about not running after every shiny object. I heard a term that fits everybody in this meeting, even Michael, where it's all about networking. But we've all heard of FOMO, the fear of missing out. Well, that can be offset with a JOMO, and that is the joy of missing out. So
Mhm.
finding the joy of not needing to chase every shining object, finding the joy in that, and really living that joy and making the most of that time and really flipping the script on it and really going into the joy of that. And even for the follow-up, being very selective, going to the right networking events, and then having the time to follow up in networking, because you're not chasing every crazy thing that's out there. So
Are you saying that we need to get our JOMO back, not our mojo back, but our
we
JOMO
need to
back?
get our JOMO back. Exactly right. And what a great place to start every day, from a position of joy. And that's where I start every day, in my joy with my supreme intelligence, intuition dialogues with God, with Jesus, with Buddha, with the universe, because Buddha said he's not God. So it's just a real life, practice on the planet Earth. So I thought this is a great meeting with a group of men. We would love to have women, join us, because this is a human movement. And I'm with some of my favorite humans on the planet right now. So guys, thanks for being here. And I'd love you to wrap up with any thoughts about the meeting, about yourselves, and how we can, really help each other, because uh, nobody's the smartest, but together, we're as smart as we all can be together. So anyway, that's my thought for the day, guys. Thanks for being here. I'll let you guys end with any final thoughts.
All wisdom is God's wisdom. That's what St. Augustine said. So we can absolutely learn from Aristotle, Socrates, Buddha, or whoever, as long as we understand, in my view, who's supreme over all of it. So I'm
I
cool with
love
that.
that, Greg. That was a perfect summary. Thank you so much for that. Ron, Michael, Great for being here, guys. That's a wrap, as we say.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us. We're here every Thursday now at 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Join us for the recording. Promote your business. Have the time to share your business. That's what we're all about. And we'd love to have you join us. So thanks for being here, guys. And I'll talk to you next
Thank you,
Thursday.
Mike. Thank you, Michael. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you,
Take care.
Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Everyone. Bye. Take care.